Yo, Chrisean Rock is in serious danger right now, and I'm not even exaggerating. People are saying she was literally hunted, like hunted, through the streets by what witnesses are calling a Mexican gang. And the whole situation has the internet absolutely spinning. Because this wasn't just some random encounter, loves. This was targeted, this was aggressive, and this was terrifying. But here's where it gets even more insane. While Chrisean is dealing with what might be the scariest moment of her entire career, Jaidyn Alexis, yeah, that Jaidyn, allegedly came out of nowhere with a revenge move so calculated, so brutal, that fans are convinced this whole thing is connected. And child, when I tell you the details that are coming out, y'all are not ready. So, buckle up, because what I'm about to break down is genuinely one of the darkest celebrity situations we've seen this year.
All right, so everybody thought they knew what was happening with Chrisean Rock lately, right? We've been watching her navigate drama, watching her live her life publicly, watching her handle beef with different people in the industry. That was the version everyone was following. Just regular celebrity chaos, nothing we hadn't seen before. But then, allegedly, something went down that completely changed the game. Reports started surfacing, and I'm talking multiple eyewitness accounts here, that Chrisean was followed, trailed, and according to some sources, literally chased through the streets by a group that witnesses identified as gang members. And not just like, oh, some fans wanted pictures type of following. No. This was described as aggressive, coordinated, and genuinely dangerous. TMZ hasn't fully covered this yet, but social media is on fire. Leaked clips allegedly showing parts of the incident started circulating on Twitter and TikTok within hours. Fans online turned into full-blown investigators, breaking down every frame, every angle, trying to figure out exactly what happened and why. And here's where the whole narrative starts twisting in a direction nobody saw coming. Because just as people are processing this terrifying gang situation, Jaidyn Alexis, who's been relatively quiet recently, allegedly makes a move that fans are calling the most savage revenge strike of the year. And people online are asking the same question. Is this all connected? Was Jaidyn waiting for something like this to happen to Chrisean, or did she somehow, dramatic pause, play a role in making it happen? Sheesh. Let me break this whole thing down from the beginning.
So, according to multiple reports and alleged eyewitness accounts, Chrisean Rock was out. Some say she was in Los Angeles, others claim it was somewhere in the Valley, when this whole situation kicked off. Now, the exact location is still unclear because sources are being intentionally vague, probably for safety reasons. But what is clear from the leaked footage and witness statements is that things escalated fast. In one of the clips that's been circulating, and I'm telling you, this footage is chilling, you can allegedly see Chrisean moving quickly through what looks like a parking lot or street area. The camera's shaky, it's clearly shot from a distance, but you can see her body language. She's looking over her shoulder. Her security team is right there with her, but they look just as tense. And in the background, multiple figures that witnesses claim were following her. Now, fans online, and these people are thorough, y'all. They've been analyzing this footage frame by frame. They're zooming in on the people in the background, trying to identify clothing, tattoos, anything that could give clues about who these people were. And according to folks who claim to know about gang activity in that area, the way these individuals were moving, the coordination, the way they seemed to be communicating with each other, it wasn't random. This looked organized. One TikTok user who claims to have gang intelligence experience broke down the body language and said, and I'm quoting here, "This was either intimidation or a setup for something worse." Whew, that's heavy. But it gets even crazier, because apparently this wasn't even the first incident. Reports from people allegedly close to Chrisean's camp say that in the weeks leading up to this, there were signs something was off. Strange accounts started following her on social media. Unknown phone numbers kept calling her team. There were allegedly suspicious cars spotted outside places she frequented. One source, and this is from an anonymous account that's been reliable with industry tea before, claimed that Chrisean's security team had actually flagged concerns about a potential threat weeks before this incident happened. They allegedly reported it, tried to increase security measures, but according to this source, they didn't expect things to escalate this fast or this publicly. And honestly, that's the terrifying part. Because when you're a celebrity, especially someone like Chrisean, who's been in the public eye dealing with very public drama, you expect attention. You expect fans, you expect paparazzi, you even expect some haters. But you don't expect to be hunted. You don't expect to fear for your actual safety in broad daylight. Now, online detectives have been doing what they do best, digging. They've been comparing this incident to other celebrity gang encounters, looking for patterns. They've analyzed the location, the timing, the people allegedly involved, and several threads on Reddit and Twitter are pointing to something that sounds straight out of a movie, that this might have been a message meant for someone else, but Chrisean got caught in the crossfire. Some people are speculating that because of Chrisean's associations, her relationships, her past conflicts, people she's been seen with, she might have unknowingly gotten on the wrong side of the wrong people. And when you're moving in certain circles in the entertainment industry, especially in LA, those connections can get complicated quick. There's also been whispers, and this is purely speculation at this point, that the incident might be linked to financial disputes. You know how it goes. In the industry, money gets involved, deals go wrong, people feel disrespected, and suddenly things get dangerous. Some folks online are claiming that Chrisean might have been involved in a business situation that went sideways, and this was retaliation. But let's be clear. Nobody's confirmed any of this. These are all theories based on what people are piecing together from social media, leaked clips, and anonymous sources. The truth is that we don't have the full story yet. But what we do know is that something serious went down. Chrisean was clearly in danger, and the internet is not letting this go until answers come out.
All right, so while all of this chaos is unfolding with Chrisean and this alleged gang situation, guess who decides to make her presence known? Jaidyn Alexis. And child, the timing of this, suspicious as hell. Now, for anyone who doesn't know the history here, let me give you some quick context. Jaidyn Alexis and Chrisean Rock have been in this weird, messy orbit around each other for a minute now. It's complicated, it involves shared connections, past drama, loyalty questions, and a whole lot of public tension. These two have never been friends, and their interactions have always had this underlying edge to them. There's been subtle shade, there's been indirect posts, there's been that energy where you know something deeper is going on, but nobody's fully addressing it publicly. Until now. Because according to multiple reports and social media activity, Jaidyn allegedly launched what people are calling a revenge attack right as Chrisean was dealing with the gang incident. And fans are not buying that the timing is coincidental. So, what exactly did Jaidyn do? Well, that's where things get really interesting. Reports say, and this is coming from multiple sources on Twitter, Instagram insiders, and even some gossip pages that have been accurate before, that Jaidyn dropped some major information. We're talking alleged receipts, we're talking screenshots, we're talking voice notes. The kind of stuff that, if it's real, could seriously damage Chrisean's reputation and career. One of the leaked screenshots allegedly shows text message conversations where Chrisean is supposedly talking about people in the industry in ways that, let's just say, wouldn't make her look great if it got out. There's allegedly discussions about deals, about other celebrities, about situations that were supposed to stay private. But here's where people are getting really suspicious. Some fans noticed that these leaks started dropping right as news of the gang incident was spreading. Like within hours. And people are asking, how did Jaidyn have this information ready to go? Was she sitting on this, waiting for the perfect moment to strike? Or is there something even deeper going on here? Because listen, and this is where the internet detective work gets wild. There's this one Twitter thread that went semi-viral where someone broke down the timeline. They noted that Jaidyn was unusually active on social media in the days leading up to the incident. She was posting cryptic messages, stuff like "patience is a virtue" and "everything comes full circle" and "watch what you wish for." At the time, people thought she was just being messy as usual, but now, looking back, those posts hit different. And then there's this. Allegedly, someone who claims to be close to Jaidyn's circle said in a now-deleted Instagram story that Jaidyn had been planning something big for weeks. They said she was tired of being disrespected and that she was about to remind people who they're playing with. Again, this was before the gang incident happened. So, people are connecting dots that may or may not be there, but the theory is this. Did Jaidyn somehow have advanced knowledge that something was going to happen to Chrisean? And did she plan her revenge to drop at the exact moment when Chrisean would be most vulnerable and least able to defend herself? Now look, this is all speculation. We don't have concrete proof of any coordination between Jaidyn and the gang incident. That would be a serious accusation, and we need to be careful about making those kinds of claims without evidence. But what we can say is that the timing is raising a lot of eyebrows, and the internet is absolutely convinced that there's more to this story. And honestly, the way Jaidyn has been moving since all this went down is not helping the suspicion. She hasn't addressed the gang incident directly, but she's been posting on social media like everything is normal. Actually, scratch that, like everything is great. She's been out, she's been smiling, she's been giving major "I just won" energy. And fans are noticing. One comment that keeps popping up on her posts is, "The timing is real loud," and "You picked your moment perfectly, huh?" And Jaidyn, she's not responding to any of it. She's just existing in her victory lap, allegedly. What makes this even messier is that some people, a smaller group, but they exist, are actually defending Jaidyn. They're saying that whatever she's doing, Chrisean probably deserved it. They're bringing up past incidents where Chrisean allegedly did similar things to other people, saying this is just karma coming back around. So there's this whole debate happening online about who's in the right here, who's the villain, and whether what Jaidyn did, assuming she did anything, was justified revenge or a low blow during someone's worst moment. Sheesh. This situation has layers.
All right, so now let's get into the motive, because this is where everything starts clicking into place and you begin to understand why all of this might be happening now. Because beef in the entertainment industry doesn't just pop up out of nowhere, right? There's always history, there's always a catalyst, there's always that moment where things shifted from "we're cool" to "it's on site." So let's go back, way back. To understand the Chrisean-Jaidyn dynamic, you gotta understand the connections, the shared history, and the people in the middle of all this. Both of these women have been in the industry, navigating similar circles, dealing with similar people, and competing, whether directly or indirectly, for similar positions in the public eye. Chrisean Rock, as we all know, came up in a very public way. Her relationship drama, her music career, her reality TV presence, all of it has been documented and dissected by millions of people. She went from relatively unknown to being a household name in the drama community basically overnight. And with that kind of rapid rise, you make enemies, you step on toes, you get involved in situations that have consequences you might not even realize in the moment. Jaidyn Alexis, on the other hand, has been in the game longer, but in a different way. She's been more strategic, more calculated about her moves. She's not as chaotic publicly, but people who follow her closely know she does not play when it comes to respect and loyalty. She's the type who will smile in your face publicly, but be planning 10 steps ahead privately. So what brought these two into direct conflict? Well, according to industry insiders and people who claim to know both of them, it comes down to a few key things. First, shared connections. Without getting too specific, because names haven't been fully confirmed, both Chrisean and Jaidyn have been linked to the same circles, same people, same events. And in those situations, there's often competition for attention, for opportunities, for positioning. When you're both trying to secure your spot in the same industry, in the same city, in the same scene, tensions build naturally. Second, alleged disrespect. There have been multiple instances over the past year where fans noticed subtle shade being thrown between these two. A caption here, a comment there, a strategic post at a strategic time. It's that high school energy, but with millions of followers watching. And each little jab builds resentment. People close to the situation claim that there was a specific incident, still not fully public, where Chrisean allegedly did something that Jaidyn felt was a major violation of trust or respect. And Jaidyn, from what people say, is not the type to forget. Third, the loyalty question. In the entertainment industry, especially in the circles these women run in, loyalty is everything. Who you stand with, who you support publicly, who you distance yourself from, all of that matters. And apparently, there was a situation where sides had to be chosen, and Chrisean and Jaidyn ended up on opposite sides. Once that happens, once that line is drawn, it's hard to come back from. But here's where it potentially gets even deeper. There are whispers, and again, this is unconfirmed tea from anonymous sources, that there might be a financial element to this beef. Allegedly, there was a business deal or opportunity that both women were involved in or interested in. According to one source who spoke anonymously online, one of them allegedly made moves that cut the other out of a significant money opportunity. Now, I don't have specifics on what this deal was. Nobody's talking openly about it, but people who claim to know have hinted it was something in the six-figure range. Could have been a brand deal, could have been a music opportunity, could have been some kind of event or partnership, but whatever it was, allegedly, one of them felt betrayed, felt like they got played, and that became the foundation for everything that's happened since. And let's keep it real about the industry for a second. When you're operating at this level, when you're public figures with influence and income streams connected to your image, every move matters financially. A scandal can cost you endorsements. Drama can cost you opportunities. Getting exposed can cost you your reputation, which costs you money. So when Jaidyn allegedly drops receipts, at the exact moment Chrisean is dealing with a terrifying gang situation, it's not just personal revenge. It's strategic. It's calculated to hit when it will do the most damage, personally and professionally. Think about it from Jaidyn's perspective for a second. If she's been sitting on information, waiting for the right moment to use it, what would be the most effective timing? When Chrisean is strong, on top of her game and able to fight back with her full resources? Or when Chrisean is vulnerable, scared, dealing with a legitimate safety threat, and unable to fully focus on managing PR and defending herself? The answer's obvious. You strike when your enemy is weakest. That's strategy 101. Now, is that what happened here? We don't know for sure. But the timing sure does look like that, and people online are absolutely convinced this was planned. And here's where the theories get really dark. I want to be clear, this is firmly in speculation territory. Some people online are wondering if there's any possibility that the gang situation and Jaidyn's actions are more directly connected than just coincidental timing. The theory goes like this. What if Jaidyn, through her connections or through people she knows, had information that something was going to happen to Chrisean? What if she didn't necessarily cause it, but she knew about it in advance? And what if she used that knowledge to time her own revenge perfectly? Now, listen, that's a heavy accusation, and I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm saying that's what some people online are theorizing. And to be fair to Jaidyn, there's absolutely no concrete evidence connecting her to the gang incident itself. That would be a serious criminal matter if it were true, and we can't throw those kinds of accusations around without proof. What we do know is this.
The timing is suspicious. Jaidyn had been unusually quiet and then suddenly became very active right when Chrisean's situation blew up. The receipts she allegedly dropped were ready to go, suggesting they'd been prepared in advance. And her entire energy since this has happened has been that of someone who won a battle they'd been planning to fight. All of that together, it paints a picture of someone who was waiting, watching, and strategically chose her moment. Whether that makes her smart or makes her cold-hearted depends on who you ask.
But let's step back from all the strategy and speculation for a minute, because there's a really important human element to all of this that we can't ignore. At the center of this situation is a person, a real human being, who experienced something genuinely terrifying. Chrisean Rock, whatever you think of her, whatever drama she's been involved in before, allegedly went through an experience that could traumatize someone. Being followed, potentially chased, feeling like you're in danger and not knowing what's going to happen next, that's not entertainment. That's not gossip. That's a real safety threat. According to people who claim to have seen more of the footage or spoken to people who were there, Chrisean was visibly shaken. One description said her hands were trembling. Another said you could see the fear in her eyes. This wasn't her putting on a show or exaggerating for attention. This was genuine terror. And here's the part that really hits different for me. Her security team, people whose literal job is to protect her, were reportedly just as alarmed. These are professionals, people who have probably seen a lot of intense situations, and they were concerned enough to take immediate action. That tells you this wasn't a minor incident. This was serious enough that trained security professionals went into crisis mode. But the trauma doesn't just stop when the immediate danger is over, right? This is the kind of experience that sticks with you. Every time Chrisean leaves her house now, is she going to be looking over her shoulder? Every time she's in public, is she going to be wondering if someone's watching her, following her, planning something? That's psychological trauma, y'all. That's not something you just shake off. That's something that can affect your mental health, your ability to trust, your willingness to be in public spaces. For someone whose career depends on being visible and accessible to fans, that kind of fear can be career-altering. And it's not just about Chrisean herself. According to some reports, people in her circle, family members, friends, people close to her, are now worried. They're concerned for their own safety. They're wondering if they could be targeted too, just because of their association with her. One source allegedly close to Chrisean's family said, and I'm paraphrasing here, that her mother has been beside herself with worry, calling constantly to make sure Chrisean is okay, wanting her to leave the area or increase security. That's a mother terrified for her child's life. That hits different when you think about it that way. And that's what makes Jaidyn's alleged timing even more messed up, if the theories are true. Because if Jaidyn knew or suspected that Chrisean was going through something this serious and still chose that moment to drop damaging information and receipts, that's not just cold, that's potentially cruel. Like, there's having beef with someone, and then there's kicking someone when they're at their absolute lowest, dealing with a legitimate, life-threatening situation. Those are two different things, and a lot of people online are making that distinction, saying that even if Jaidyn had legitimate grievances with Chrisean, the way she allegedly chose to handle it crosses a line. Now, to be fair, and we gotta look at multiple perspectives here. Some people are arguing that Chrisean has done similar things to others in the past. They're pointing to incidents where Chrisean allegedly exposed people, dropped information at bad times, or used drama for her own advantage. They're saying this is just karma, just Chrisean getting a taste of her own medicine. And look, I get that argument. If someone has a history of being messy, of hurting people, of using drama as a weapon, it's hard to feel too sorry for them when it comes back around. That's a fair point. But even with that, there's levels to this.
There's a difference between regular celebrity drama and someone potentially being in physical danger. And if Jaidyn knew about the gang situation and still piled on, that's where some folks are drawing the line and saying it went too far. Because imagine being Chrisean in that moment. You've just been through one of the scariest experiences of your life. You're probably still shaking, still processing what happened, still trying to figure out how to stay safe. Your phone is blowing up with concerned messages from family and friends. Your security team is reassessing everything. You're in crisis mode. And then you see, or someone tells you, that while all this is happening, someone you already have beef with is online dropping receipts, spreading information, taking advantage of your worst moment to maximize damage? That's gotta feel like being attacked on two fronts: the physical threat from the gang situation and the reputation/career threat from Jaidyn's alleged actions. And the psychological impact of that, having someone capitalize on your trauma, that's a whole other level of betrayal and hurt. That's the type of thing that people don't forget or forgive. Now, just when you thought this situation couldn't get any more layered, we've got new information coming from what people are calling industry insiders, who allegedly know both Chrisean and Jaidyn. And child, what they're saying adds a whole new dimension to this drama. So there's this account. I'm not going to name them directly because they're anonymous and have asked to stay that way, but they've been verified by multiple gossip pages as someone who actually runs in me circles. They've provided accurate information before about other celebrity situations, so people are taking what they say seriously. And what they shared in a series of DMs that got leaked? Whew! According to this source, the beef between Chrisean and Jaidyn goes back much further than people realize. We're not talking months. We're talking potentially years. They claim that there was an incident way back before either of them was as famous as they are now, where something happened that created permanent bad blood. The source wouldn't give all the specific details, but they said it involved loyalty, money, and a man, which, let's be real, is the recipe for beef in like 90% of celebrity drama. But apparently, this original incident was serious enough for people in their circle to choose sides. And according to this insider, Jaidyn has been waiting for the right moment to make Chrisean pay for it ever since. But here's where it gets extra interesting. This insider claims that there's a third party involved, someone who's been playing both sides and potentially feeding information to Jaidyn about Chrisean's movements, schedule, and vulnerabilities. Now, they didn't name who this third party is, but they described them as someone close enough to Chrisean to know her business, but loyal enough to Jaidyn to share it. Which, if true, means Chrisean has someone in her circle who's been working against her. That's some serious infiltration-level drama right there. This would explain a lot, actually. It would explain how Jaidyn seemed to know the perfect time to strike. It would explain how she had receipts ready to go. It would explain the strategic precision of her whole approach. You can't execute that kind of coordinated takedown without good intelligence. You need information. You need to know when someone's vulnerable, when they're distracted, when they won't be able to fight back effectively. And the insider also said, and this is really concerning, that they don't think this is over. They claim Jaidyn has more information she hasn't released yet, that what we've seen so far is just the beginning, and that she's planning to keep the pressure on Chrisean for as long as it takes to completely destroy her credibility. Those are allegedly direct quotes from someone close to Jaidyn's camp. To completely destroy her credibility. That's not about winning an argument or settling beef. That's about total destruction. And that level of commitment to taking someone down comes from deep personal hurt. That comes from feeling wronged in a way that you can't let go of. Whatever happened between these two originally must have been serious for Jaidyn to be allegedly this dedicated to revenge. The insider also mentioned that people in their shared circle are basically in hiding right now, not wanting to get involved or be seen as taking sides. Like, group chats have gone quiet. Mutual friends are avoiding posting anything that could be interpreted as supporting one over the other. And everyone's basically walking on eggshells waiting to see how this plays out. That's how you know drama is serious, when it makes everyone around it uncomfortable and afraid to say anything. This isn't fun gossip anymore for the people actually in these circles. This is legitimately tense and potentially dangerous situation that has people worried about their own positioning and safety. One more thing the insider mentioned that I think is important. They said that there have been attempts by mutual friends to mediate, to get Chrisean and Jaidyn to talk and squash whatever this is before it escalates further. But allegedly, both sides refused. Chrisean reportedly said she doesn't negotiate with snakes, which, fair, especially if she believes Jaidyn had anything to do with the gang situation. Pause. And Jaidyn allegedly said she doesn't accept apologies from people who aren't sorry, implying that whatever Chrisean did to her originally, Chrisean has never properly apologized or taken accountability for it. So we've got two people who are both dug into their positions, both convinced they're right, both refusing to back down. And when you have that kind of stubbornness on both sides, when neither person is willing to extend an olive branch or even have a conversation, that's when things have the potential to get really bad.
All right, so let's actually break down what allegedly dropped, what receipts supposedly exist, and what evidence has been circulating online. Receipt number 1. The screenshots. According to multiple people who claim to have seen them, there are screenshots of text conversations allegedly involving Chrisean. These screenshots supposedly show conversations where Chrisean is discussing other people in the industry in pretty unflattering ways. One screenshot that people keep referencing allegedly shows Chrisean calling another female artist desperate and washed up. Another allegedly shows her discussing someone's financial problems and laughing about it. If these screenshots are real, and that's a big if, because we all know screenshots can be faked, they would definitely damage Chrisean's relationships in the industry. But here's what people are questioning. Where did Jaidyn get these screenshots? If they're real, that means she either has access to Chrisean's phone or someone with access to those conversations sent them to her. Either scenario points back to that insider betrayal theory we talked about earlier. Receipt number 2, the voice notes. Allegedly, and again, we haven't independently verified this, there are voice notes that have been shared in private group chats. People who say they've heard them claim it's Chrisean's voice discussing plans to set someone up and talking about using information she has on people as insurance. Now, voice notes are easier to fake than ever with AI technology, so we have to take this with a massive grain of salt. But people online are convinced they're real based on the voice patterns and the specific slang and phrases used that they say are definitely Chrisean. Receipt number 3, financial records. This one's vaguer, but there have been hints that Jaidyn has some kind of financial documentation. Bank statements, contracts, payment records that allegedly show Chrisean did something shady financially. Nobody's actually seen these documents publicly yet, but Jaidyn allegedly referenced them in a cryptic Instagram story that said something like, "I have the paperwork, and when I'm ready, everybody will see who the real fraud is." That post got screenshotted and spread everywhere before she deleted it. Receipt number 4, video footage. This is the one that has people most curious. There are rumors, not confirmed, that there's video footage from a private event or gathering that allegedly shows Chrisean doing or saying something that would be career-ending if it went public. People have been begging Jaidyn to release this if it exists, but she allegedly hasn't yet. Some think she's holding on to it as her nuclear option, the thing she'll release if Chrisean tries to fight back too hard. Others think it might not exist at all and it's just a bluff to keep Chrisean scared and defensive. So looking at all of this together, what do we have? We have alleged screenshots that could be faked. We have supposed voice notes that could be AI generated. We have hints of financial documents that nobody's actually seen yet. And we have rumors of video footage that may or may not exist. In other words, what
we don't have a lot of confirmed, verified, undeniable evidence. What we have is a lot of claims, a lot of things people say exist, and a lot of internet speculation. And that's important to acknowledge because while this is all dramatic and interesting to discuss, we have to be careful about treating unverified information as fact. That said, even if some or all of this isn't real, the impact is real. The fact that these rumors exist, that people are talking about them, that Chrisean is dealing with this on top of everything else, that has real consequences for her reputation and career, regardless of whether the receipts are legitimate. And that's part of what makes this type of alleged revenge so effective. You don't necessarily need ironclad evidence to damage someone. You just need to plant doubt, get people questioning, create chaos. Once the rumors are out there, once people start talking, the damage is done even if you later prove everything was false. And doing it when Chrisean is dealing with the gang situation? That ensures she doesn't have the time, energy, or resources to properly address each piece of information, verify what's real, and defend herself. She's fighting on too many fronts. That's strategic warfare right there.
All right, so we've covered the specific drama, the receipts, the theories, but I think we need to zoom out for a second and talk about the bigger picture here, because this situation is actually a really dark example of something that happens in the entertainment industry more than people realize. And it's worth discussing what this reveals about fame, safety, and how beef can escalate to dangerous levels. The safety vulnerability of public figures. One of the things this whole situation highlights is how vulnerable celebrities actually are, especially in the age of social media, where everyone knows where you are all the time. Chrisean, whether through her own posts or through fans and paparazzi, had her location and movements documented constantly. That's just part of being famous now. But that means if someone wants to find you, track you, or target you, it's not that hard. You don't need CIA-level resources. You just need to follow social media, watch tagged locations, pay attention to patterns. And if someone with bad intentions decides to use that information, celebrities are sitting ducks. This gang incident, regardless of what actually happened or why, is a wake-up call about how real the danger can be. We treat celebrity drama like entertainment, and often it is. But when it crosses over to physical threats and real-world danger, that's a whole different thing. And the industry doesn't always do enough to protect people, especially women, especially people of color, especially people who aren't at the absolute top tier of fame with unlimited security budgets. The weaponization of information. The way Jaidyn allegedly used information, timing it strategically, releasing it when Chrisean was most vulnerable, that's something we see constantly in celebrity culture. Information becomes currency, receipts become weapons, and people hold on to dirt, sometimes for years, waiting for the perfect moment to deploy it. That creates this environment where everyone in the industry is constantly scared of who has what on them. Who's recording conversations? Who's screenshotting conversations? Who's secretly documenting things to use later? It's exhausting, it's toxic, and it makes genuine friendship and trust almost impossible. And platforms, social media companies, gossip blogs, even mainstream media, they benefit from this. They get clicks, engagement, ad revenue every time there's new drama, new receipts, new beef. So there's no incentive for them to discourage this behavior. In fact, the system rewards it. The role of fans and internet detectives. We also have to talk about the role that fans play in amplifying and escalating these situations. Because while it's one thing for Jaidyn to drop receipts or for Chrisean to be in a dangerous situation, it's fans and internet users who spread the information, create theories, harass people, and keep the drama alive. Some of the things people have done in their investigations of this situation cross lines. Allegedly, some fans have tried to identify the gang members involved, which could put those fans in danger or could lead to misidentification and innocent people getting harassed.
Other fans have been in Jaidyn's comments celebrating the takedown of Chrisean, which is cruel when someone's potentially dealing with trauma. We, as consumers of this content, have to think about our role in all of this. Are we contributing to a culture that makes this type of thing worse? Are we rewarding the most extreme, the most dangerous, the most toxic behavior with our attention and engagement? Because if we are, then we're part of the problem. The absence of real conflict resolution. One thing that's missing in this entire situation and in so many celebrity beefs is any real mechanism for conflict resolution. There's no mediator, no neutral third party, no process for people to work through beef before it escalates to this level. Instead, everything plays out publicly with millions of people watching and commenting and taking sides. That makes it almost impossible to de-escalate. Because if you try to apologize or back down publicly, you look weak. If you try to extend an olive branch, people call you fake. The pressure to keep fighting, to never show vulnerability, to win at all costs, that's built into the public nature of these conflicts. And so you end up with situations like this, where two people who probably could have resolved their issues privately if they'd had the chance years ago are now in a full-blown war that involves alleged gang violence, revenge plots, leaked receipts, and potential career destruction. It didn't have to get here, but the system doesn't really provide off-ramps. Look, at the end of the day, this Chrisean-Jaidyn situation is just one example of a much larger problem in how we handle celebrity, fame, conflict, and safety in the modern era. The lines between entertainment and real danger are getting blurred. The incentives are all wrong. Rewarding drama over peace, conflict over resolution, exposure over privacy. And until something changes, either in how platforms operate, how fans engage, or how the industry protects people, we're going to keep seeing situations like this. Situations where beef becomes dangerous, where revenge becomes strategic warfare, and where real people get hurt in ways that go beyond just their reputation.
So, where does that leave us with this whole situation? Honestly, it leaves us with more questions than answers at this point. What we know for sure is limited. Chrisean Rock allegedly experienced a terrifying incident involving people described as gang members. That incident was documented partially on leaked footage. Around the same time, Jaidyn Alexis allegedly made moves to release damaging information about Chrisean. The timing of these events has people convinced they're connected. And the beef between these two runs deep and shows no signs of de-escalating. What we don't know is the full truth of what happened during the gang incident, who was behind it, what the actual motive was, and whether there's any real connection to Jaidyn beyond coincidental timing. We don't know if all the receipts that allegedly exist are real. We don't know what Jaidyn's ultimate endgame is. We don't know how Chrisean is going to respond once she's processed everything and feels safe enough to address it. What I do know is that this story is far from over. Both of these women are still very much in the public eye. Both have platforms and influence. Both have people in their corners backing them up. And if history tells us anything, this type of beef doesn't just fizzle out quietly. We're probably going to see more developments, more information coming out, maybe more escalation before there's any de-escalation. And depending on how this plays out, we could be looking at legal action, more public confrontations, or hopefully not more dangerous situations. So I want to know what y'all think about this whole situation, because there are so many angles to consider. Do you think the timing of Jaidyn's alleged revenge strike was coincidental, or do you think it was strategically planned to hit when Chrisean was most vulnerable? Do you believe there's any possibility that the gang incident and Jaidyn's actions are connected beyond just timing, or is that too much of a conspiracy theory? And here's the bigger question. Even if Chrisean did something to Jaidyn in the past that justifies being angry, do you think the way Jaidyn allegedly handled it, dropping receipts during a traumatic, dangerous moment, was crossing a line?
Or is all fair in love and war when it comes to celebrity beef? Because here's the thing, and this is what makes these situations so complicated. It's entirely possible for multiple things to be true at once. Chrisean could legitimately have wronged Jaidyn in the past, and Jaidyn could be handling her revenge in a way that's cruel and excessive. The gang incident could be completely unrelated to Jaidyn, and the timing of her actions could still be strategically calculated. People aren't usually all good or all bad in these situations. Usually, everybody did something wrong, everybody's got dirt, and everybody's making choices that range from understandable to questionable to flat-out problematic. What concerns me most about this whole thing is the escalation. This started as industry beef, probably over something that seemed significant at the time, but in the grand scheme of things was probably manageable. But it's escalated to the point where we're talking about potential gang violence, strategic reputation destruction, and real trauma. And that trajectory, from petty beef to actual danger, that's something we should all be paying attention to. Not just because it's dramatic or entertaining, but because it reveals how toxic and harmful these dynamics can become when there's no intervention, no accountability, and no incentive to de-escalate. So drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know where you stand on this. Do you think one person is more in the wrong here, or is this a situation where both sides need to be held accountable? What do you think happens next? And do you think there's any way this gets resolved peacefully, or are we headed for more drama? Make sure you like this video if you found it informative, and I know this was a long one, so if you made it this far, I appreciate you for real. Hit subscribe if you want to stay updated on this situation as it develops, because trust me, I'll be covering every new development that comes out. And turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, because this story's moving fast. I'm going to leave you with this thought. In a world where everyone's watching, where information is currency, and where beef can escalate to dangerous levels in a matter of days, maybe we all need to think more carefully about how we engage with conflict, how we treat people we have issues with, and whether winning the battle is worth what you might lose in the process. Stay safe out there, loves. Be careful who you trust, be mindful of how you move, and remember that not everything needs to be a war. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.